Hey there tuners and tunies, and today, a very special occasion, because we're talking about the Wii U. The Wii U, alternatively titled That Was a Mistake, was Nintendo's 8th generation system and the sequel to their hugely profitable Nintendo Wii. It had a tablet-like controller, the gamepad, alternatively titled That Was Also a Huge Mistake, some sweet,
nice graphics,
and a couple of big-name games like Mario and Zelda. But despite this, it still failed hard. It had such low sales figures that the Nintendo Switch, its successor, overtook it in the race in just 10 months. In comparison to 4 years. It tried to appeal to families with the link to its previous system, the Wii, and all of its similar waggle games, such as minigame compilations. But they all thought that the Wii U was just an add-on for the original Wii. Or they were just stupid. It tried to appeal to hardcore gamers with high-definition graphics and launched titles such as Batman and Mass Effect, yet they're Xbox and PlayStation fanboys. They hate Nintendo unless someone they likes Nintendo. They're sheep. They're stupid. And you try to appeal to the Nintendo fans, the ones who will always support you no matter what. Yet, somehow, you still managed to mess that up. You released game after game that ranged from to and your fans, they just lost interest. And they're not stupid. What did I do? From the beginning, we were all uneasy about the Wii U. Its unique controller setup was intriguing, yeah, but not groundbreaking. This stuff was done half a decade prior on the DS, and the 3DS was already on the market at this point, so it served no purpose other than for asymmetrical multiplayer, which was used in like 4 games, and that was about it. The Wii had the first affordable motion controls ever, and Wii Sports, which even Granny enjoyed. The Wii U had a bulky tablet, a Nintendo Land, a mixed bag minigame compilation. That name was also garbage. When you're creating a sequel for a system targeted at idiotic parents, you need a simple title that easily tells the parent what it is. So they stuck a U on the end so they didn't need to think up a name for 40% of their library. Like, I get the sentiment. It emphasises that the focus is now equally on multi and single player experiences alike. But, as I said, if a parent sees that in a shop, especially with that giant tablet alongside it, they're going to assume it's an accessory for the Wii. There is literally an original Wii accessory, which I own, and a series of games, one of which I also own, called U-Draw, that use a similar tablet controller. Nintendo, come on, do some logical market research. It paid off for the Wii. It could have paid off for the Wii U. Look, in the 5 minutes I took to write this paragraph and read it off, I just thought of this, so take a look. This is just some concept art. There was one thing in particular, that annihilated any hope the Wii U had of succeeding. And that was From the November launch onwards, there were flat out no games for the system. Nintendo have stated in interviews before that it was due to extended development time caused by the jump to more powerful hardware, which slowed production significantly. But regardless of that point, surely someone at this company, regardless of their position, manager, or a lowly salesperson would have realised at some point that their brand new system that needs as much support as possible in its first year didn't have any games for like 6 whole months. Yeah, there was Lego City Undercover, which is still one of the best games for the system. But your only game for 3 months can't be a third-party Lego game. Come on, I don't have to explain why, Nintendo. It killed all momentum the system had, and while, to be fair, in the same time period you were busy littering the 3DS with some of my favourite games of all time, maybe you could have shared a little bit of that with the Wii U. Speaking of games, well, there's just a couple I like. Ironically enough, there were quite a few classics this generation that, if they were on a better system, would have probably have sold like crazy. There was the previously mentioned Lego City Undercover, which I put like 100 hours into this. It's like GTA, but with Lego, and at one point it's just so good. There was the long overdue prequel to Pikmin, aptly titled Pikmin 3, which was just amazing, and now I want a 4th one on Switch. This game is so good. Mario Maker was also there, and that was just great. A sequel to Mario Paint of all things, and this time letting you achieve everybody's childhood dream, actually making Mario levels. It was a little rough around the edges in places, but this was a game. There was the first new big IP from Nintendo in ages, Splatoon, which practically reinvented the shooter with just such a creative mechanic. We got the best Mario Kart game to date from the Wii U as well, and there was a pretty good 3D Mario game this generation. In places, a new Smash Brothers, Rayman Legends was fantastic on the Wii U. There's so many great games, even notable ones I haven't even mentioned, I'll put them on the screen, but at the same time, you can find the majority of them elsewhere for way better. You see what I mean? Essentially, all of these titles have been done somewhere else, sometimes even better than the version on the Wii U. The only title that really escapes from this rule is Splatoon, but you're not going to spend £350 for one brand new experience, are you? And alongside this, the Switch is slowly sucking the Wii U dry of all its good experiences, with the system's only new Zelda title, Breath of the Wild, being a launch title for the portable powerhouse. It also didn't help that Nintendo greatly underestimated the power needed for the new generation. While Sony and Microsoft were busy announcing their new, incredibly powerful systems, Microsoft tripping up more than Henry Garnham, Nintendo was sitting there with last generation tech and a tablet that the majority of third parties, as well as Nintendo, rarely ever used to its full potential. Spending extra development money on a last generation system with a difficult to develop for controller and a tiny install base. It just wasn't worth it for many companies. But out of all the systems I've owned over the many years I've been playing video games, the Wii U, it's still one of my favourites. Nerd! Sure, it had its problems, but the nostalgia I have for the Wii U is unmatched. The amount of hours I've spent creating courses, shooting ink, speeding through fast-paced levels with a buddy in tow, or just messing around in Pikmin 3 is huge in comparison to the amount of hours I've spent on my PS4, despite owning a similar number of games on both systems. And yeah, it had problems, a few more than most, but at the end of the day, what system doesn't? So here, on the first anniversary of the Nintendo Switch, I'd like to honour the legacy of the Nintendo Wii U. At least that would be what I was doing if I was a stupid Nintendo fanboy. What do you think I am?
A loser with no friends?